Welcome back. Now, the International Women's Day theme this week was DigitALL, Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. And the Bold Women Network is celebrating it in style. Let's find out how from the co-founder, Nwabisa Siyongwana-Makumule. Thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it. Let's just get some perspective. Perhaps just tell us where you are from and what this initiative is all about and how it fits into the theme of International Women's Day, or Women's Month, because we have this every single year and we are told that women should be treated equally and fairly, but that doesn't normally happen, does it?
Not really. It definitely doesn't always happen. And I think this is the reason why we at Bold Women Network say we want the continuation of these programs, because we feel that it's not always happening, so we want to do that. So my name is Nwabisa Makumule, and I am the co-founder of Bold Women Network. So it is a network of women that says, let's continue putting women topics at the forefront, and that's basically what we are all about, and what I'm going to share with you tonight.
So maybe tell us about these programs, because yes, often when women try and get into these spaces, they are not considered first, because we women, I mean, why should we be considered first? I think it's such a ridiculous decision often by corporates, because we have equal amounts of capabilities as men do, but nonetheless. So speak to us about these programs and how these programs are trying to encourage gender equality.
So basically, first and foremost, these programs allow us as any normal woman to say, let's create a space, let's create a platform and invite other women who are also feeling or are not feeling that they are going up in, whether it's being the corporate ladder or in their businesses, as fast as they should. Some of us, we are watching our male counterparts moving up the corporate ladder. And so we're saying in these spaces basically is that it's created by women for women. So the Bold Women initiative, basically, which is a network of women, we want to have this both online and offline. So basically we are therefore addressing that kind of issue to say we can actually put out our topics ourselves as women ourselves, because I mean, we know, I mean, I work in different industries as an entrepreneur, and I know that there are certain industries that are still very much male-dominated, even though we're always talking about advancing women's program. So that is why these programs such as this one must continue to stay alive, and this is why we as Bold Women Network, we're saying we want to have both an online and an offline, and we are actually launching the Bold Women Network to say, you know what, we know these programs exist, but we also want to put our voice forward as well.
So you speak about it being launched. Has it not yet been launched? Maybe just speak to us about those details. If somebody's watching and says, I want to be part of this Bold Network, you know, and I want to be part of this so I can also contribute in whatever way as a woman.
Yes. Oh, okay. Thank you for that, because I just want to highlight that this is actually a collaboration of two women-owned SMMEs. And we said that let's join forces and collaborate. We know how we are always promoting collaborations. So African Ambition, in collaboration with Lumamu Consulting, have said we are women in this space, and let's take the program forward. So women who would like to be part of this launch can actually contact us at www.africanambition.co.za. That is where they will get more information about this launch that we are going to have on the 25th of March here in Sandton.
So why 25th of March?
Okay, so 25th of March, we said we cannot let the month of March end. So we were like, you know how it is. You've mentioned something at the beginning to say we're always talking about this. And what we've found, actually, there's a lot of lip service around women programs and the advancement of women programs. So we then said, let's take advantage and do this within International Women's Month, because everyone here in South Africa, we just want to have discussions only in August when we're talking about women's issues. And why? And you know what, if it was possible, if we had all the resources, we could have even had this program, this launch in January if we can, because why should we say we want it to be at a certain time? But we said, okay, let's bring, because let's not let International Women's Month just be on the media, on certain discussions in Parliament. Let's actually also, as on women on the ground, let's actually find these platforms and actually stand up and say, we also want to be the women of tomorrow, because our theme basically, also encourages that women of now should continue with these programs so that for the next generation to come, we can be those historical women as well.
Certainly, and I mean, you touched on something so important. It's like you have International Women's Month, you have Women's Day here in South Africa, and you always ask yourself, why can't women's issues be spoken about and dealt with every single day? Because we know how women are treated, especially here in South Africa. You know, women and children remain the most vulnerable in our society. I'm just trying to get a perspective on, you know, what kind of concerns and challenges women have brought to you, maybe not yet, but possibly could bring to you in this network, because it's obviously going to be discussion based and trying to find solutions and the challenges that women face every day in whatever sphere of life. Do you know so far what could be the kinds of discussions and solutions possibly? Because it's one thing to discuss and it's another to try and find these solutions. And it would probably be best to have a man in the room so they can understand what we go through. But, you know, it is International Women's Month.
Well, guess what? You know, because you are talking to that woman herself and the co-founder Lerato, and we actually those women. So guess what? Before I continue about that other question, we do have a man in the house that's joining us.
Oh, great.
And we have...
he's allowed, it's fine.
Yes, he's allowed. So we will have him in the house. So we really appreciate that we're having Dr. Bonang Mohale, who's going to be, and who's really supporting us, because he is saying, you know what, I want to help to go and break down the doors wherever we can, or wherever we as men can. We must help to break down the doors so that we are able to liberate women as much as possible. So just to go back, then I'm sorry if you don't mind, would you just mind just wrapping up that question?
Yes, sure. Yes. So some of the challenges that have been brought forward to the network.
So going back, so I am one of those women. So we have the women in the network. That's why we founded the network. So what we have then done, we have said we know the challenges ourselves. So we said we want to start at this launch to align it. So it's bold women with personas or the pillars, if I can put it, or the topics, which is marketing and wellness. Why do we say we want to say on our first on the launch we want to focus on bold women in marketing and wellness and their wellness? It's because we found that wellness is misunderstood. A lot of us align wellness with just the health part of it. So now we want to create a platform that says wealth is bigger than just the health. Yes, we understand the health is wealth, and the wealth comes from us working in our careers and hustling and pushing. So, but we're saying that we want people, we're going to break down the wellness. How we can make sure that if you take care of your wellness, you can grow financially. If you grow financially, Heidi, you will be able to provide spaces and opportunities for yourself and for your family. You know, whether it's taking a trip on a holiday or going every week to take a massage, so that when you go back into the spaces, where you are working and where you're facing the challenges, you've taken care of your health. You know, so we are going to have MEC Nomantu Nkomo, who's going to also be speaking and just unpack wellness as a whole. Because if we don't take care of that side of health and wellness, then we won't be able to push in our careers. So the challenges that we found, and this is why we then said marketing. We want to bring in the entrepreneurs, the people who are working full-time jobs, but then they are hustling on the side. And then we want those women in the leading positions, as well as those women who are still mushrooming in their marketing careers. Me, myself, coming from that such of space, you know, you're dreaming to go up the ladder and so on. So we're saying, let's start with marketing, because marketing is actually very key in any business. Yeah. Whether it's an existing business, a big existing business, or a small business. So we are saying, we are pushing SMMEs to say, let's create jobs, because we know how SMMEs are actually working towards building the economy. But now, what is one of the key functions that this SMME has to do? Is marketing their business. So you've got the skill, you're the engineer, you put me here, I'm the marketing person, but now the engineer, we just focus on the fact that he's an engineer, but we want him to go and start a business, he's going to have to market. So we want them to package themselves so that they can come into and create jobs by actually starting their businesses. And how are they going to bring in employees? By actually marketing their business. So we are going to touch on other sectors, bold women in marketing, bold women in engineering, but we said let's start with marketing.
Sure. Bold women in journalism.
Yes, yes, we're coming.
Just lastly, I would like to ask you about whether or not you're going to include or be trying to reach out to women in rural areas or women that are part of our township economies, because they are so integral and they are so often neglected.
Thank you, Heidi. I want to be able to go through this one because I am a rural girl myself. So you actually just you touched something in me. And it is disheartening what we are going through as a country with the load shedding. Because we are saying as a country we must go forward with digital platforms. But in the rural areas, I mean, I go there. I'm fortunate enough to work there, then I get to stay in my rural home. But what frustrates me is we don't even have network connection. I remember this one time I had to drive out, and unfortunately I came past an accident scene, and I thought to myself, you know, I'm an emotional person. I was like, oh, only if I had network at home. But literally you have to drive out. Now there's people who don't even have the car to actually drive out to where the network will pick up, and yet we are saying that forward with digital spaces. Yes, as bold women, we are going to take this on both digital and online spaces, but that is only going to benefit the women or the audience who have access to this. And we don't have access, and therefore we are calling to the corporates and saying, let's not only focus here, let's go. And as bold women, we definitely want to touch those township economies as well as the rural. And I can tell you now, we will definitely start in the rural areas if as soon as we step out of the city.
Do you have a time frame for that? And the reason why I ask you is because when I covered the budget speech about 2 weeks ago, the finance minister did not speak about uplifting rural communities, especially rural women. And you have women that, you know, look after huge families. They're left alone because, you know, the husband or the man of the house might be working far away, and they don't have access to basic services, like we're talking about clinics here or schools or whatever it might be. And it's discouraging because, you know, they also have a right to fair opportunities like we do in the city or in more developed areas. So do you have time frames when you could be moving into these areas and, you know, uplift and educate and network with them?
Well, unfortunately, Heidi, I don't want to put a time frame right now, but we are inviting the ministers of small business, the ministers of women in the presidency, Nkosazana Zuma. We are inviting Utatumondli Ngubele in the digital space. We are saying that we are inviting to partner with us, take us, bring the corporates to us who can be able to take us there. I am an entrepreneur and an SMME myself. I also work and empower other SMMEs through these programs like this. I do have the Sister Business Network where I take and assist even with small things such as company profiles. If they cannot be able to put together a company profile, because you find someone maybe has not even put a CV, or the last time they put a CV was ages ago. Now, in a company profile, you are saying, showcase to me the work that you have done, therefore I can entrust you and say, come and do the job. And you find that SMMEs don't even know how to put a profile together here in the city. Now, how much more in the rural areas? I worked with also a CETA program not so long ago, and the basic things that they need is a clear ID copies, and these women would miss out on opportunities because their ID copies were not clear. Yeah. And they had to ask this mang to send to this mang, and it is just, they have to partner with us. We are saying, come to us at Bold Women Network. We are ready for you. We would like you to take forward all the corporates in the digital space, and not limited to the digital space as well.
Okay.
So we're
just quickly remind us the website where people could go to access.
Okay, people, I would like to leave you with the website address, which is www.africanambition.co.za.
Okay,
that is where you're going to find more information.
Okay, thank you so much for your time and coming through, and thank you for not neglecting women, because that's very very common in this country. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Only a pleasure. Thank you.
That was Nwabisa Makumule, who is the co-founder of the Bold Women Network, and we really do wish her all the best. I think it's so amazing to see a woman uplifting women, because we don't often see that. Now, the